Hey everyone, welcome to SBR Sports Picks. This is the Puckheads show for Tuesday, January 10th. Of course, I'm Peter Loshak, sitting in for Mike Brenner, who's getting a very, very well-deserved day off. That guy puts pretty much everything into everything he does. You know that, right, Mike? Scott Carter?
Yeah, I know. I'm looking forward to this
break.
This break
right.
Actually, to be honest.
You got a reprieve from the intensity of Mike Brenner. I'm going to host the show today. Of course, I've done shows with Dana Lane before, but it's just during the regular season, just don't have the time. I love handicapping hockey, but during the regular season, I'm focusing on basketball. I would say handicapping playoff hockey is maybe my favorite thing to handicap overall in general because it's fun. It also can be very profitable, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, a couple of years ago, I had a great playoff run. Yeah.
Let me ask you guys something. Just quickly, do you find like the regular season in the NHL harder to handicap than the playoffs? Because I definitely do.
Especially this year for me.
Right.
Anyway,
Really?
Yeah, it's been a tough year, a little bit on the show for me at least.
Really? So how's the show been going? Dana Lane, how have you done on this show?
Well, the units are up for sure,
okay.
but the record's not where I want it to be. But certainly, to answer your question, Pete, I mean, to me, part of handicapping is also understanding where the trends of the league are going. And sometimes, you have a bunch of favorites that win consistently, but then you have to recognize when the bookmakers are making wrong numbers, and then you have to adjust your handicapping as well. So it is a constant manipulation of the way that you handicap throughout the year.
Exactly, and that's why you really have to sort of like be focused on it all year long. And when I feel like it's almost impossible for someone to do like college basketball and NHL at the same time. Would you agree with that, Dana Lane?
I would absolutely agree with that.
Right.
These guys that want to tell me about the West Coast Conference, and then they want to talk about the SEC, and then they want to tell me about the Atlantic Division and the NHL. I'm like, look, we all have coins. I'm not about ready to trust a handicapper that uses one.
And then one final question. I don't follow hockey in the regular season day to day, but there's no way I could avoid finding out about the Columbus Blue Jackets' huge winning streak in this show. How did you guys handle it? Were you guys on that train, against it? Did any of you guys pick against Columbus in that winning streak? And be honest, Scott Carter, how did you handle the winning streak?
I got a couple of games right. I think Dana. I think Mike Brenner tried it a couple of times, and then I think the last game, I think he got it right, didn't he, Dana?
Yeah, he had the Washington Capitals.
He did
really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a pretty ballsy move. Wow. All right. So we got about 7 games on the card tonight, including a game involving Columbus. And how many picks do you guys have for us today, Scott Carter?
I got 3.
3. Dana Lane, how many do you have?
I will have 2.
2. All right. Well, let's start with Scott Carter. Scott Carter, what is your first pick Tuesday, January 10th?
Okay, first pick
11th.
tonight. This line's been going up and down. I started off at minus 115.
Right.
It's up at plus 103 in certain areas. So certain books. So I got Philadelphia Flyers in Buffalo plus 103. I know
plus 103. Right. You don't use stale lines on this show, right?
We're using
stale, absolutely up to the minute lines.
Up to the minute lines.
Okay.
I just got off the computer. You saw me at the desk.
That's the one thing that is no joke. That's not a joke. We use up to the minute lines in all shows at SBR. Okay.
Absolutely, yeah.
Philly, but you get the best line, but up to the minute.
Yep.
Philly
absolutely.
plus 103. Dana Lane, what do you think about that?
Oh, I definitely could see that. This is not a favorite of mine because I don't know where either of these teams are right now. I do know for Philadelphia, when Neuver and Mason are on the same lineup together, neither one of them perform as well as when the other is hurt.
Yep,
so
that's true.
Philadelphia has certainly not played well since their long winning streak, and we just don't know what we're going to get out of the Buffalo Sabres on a nightly basis.
They've lost 8 out of 10. Yeah, Philadelphia's lost 8 out of 10 after winning 10 in a row. So I'm looking for them to turn it around. I think they're just a better, talented team. Obviously, I think you might agree on that. We'll see if the better team that has the most talent shows up and plays for better 60-minute game than the other team, and I'm hoping that's what Philadelphia is going to do. Getting him at plus 103, I think it's good value. That's why I'm taking that bet.
Sounds very good. Dana Lane, what's your first pick for us today?
First pick, Pete, is going to be San Jose minus $1.06 over Edmonton. And the reason for this is very simple. I mean, I think the San Jose Sharks, despite their losing streak, have played extremely aggressive hockey. The other night against Detroit, they forced 10 turnovers against the Red Wings, and they're going to play an Edmonton team that I think is a little bit soft. And this is one of the things that I look for when I start handicapping is aggressive teams against soft teams. This is the first home game for the Oilers after a 4-game road streak, and I usually like to play against teams on their first game home off the road. I think that Brett Burns and Paul Martin have played extremely well defensively. I think they're getting up into play. I think they're playing with a lot of confidence, but not only are they playing with confidence, but their third line pairing of Mirko Muller and Dylan DeMello are also playing well as well. And keep in mind, those are two kids. They're 21 and 23 years old, and I think the San Jose depth is going to be just too much for the Edmonton Oilers tonight. So we're going to take the Sharks minus $1.06 on the road against the Oilers.
Oh, I'm going to tail that. That was very convincing and sounds good, right?
That's my second pick, as you can see it as well.
I'm definitely all right. Chime in, add in.
I got 4 units on that game, San Jose tonight. I like that
very
game.
Good.
Oilers released a goalie, their backup goalie today. He wasn't doing very well, so Calabut's going to be taking a lot of the play, which he'll be playing tonight. But you're right, Dana. The San Jose Sharks, I mean, that team is loaded. And when they are on fire and they are playing well, who can beat these guys? I mean, they are awesome when they are on fire. And I'm hoping that game against Detroit was their turning point a little bit to get a little bit of a streak going. So let's see what happens. I'm on them as well. Yeah,
I'm totally on this one too as well. Because yes, I do. The San Jose Sharks. I mean, all right. I mean, enough of my opinions. All right, Dana Lane, what's your
minus
second?
106 is not a bad price.
Absolutely. Dana Lane, what is your second pick for us?
Yeah, a couple things. Both of these games are for one unit, and also the Sharks' 6 goals the other night was the highest amount they've scored all season. So not only are they playing well defensively, but I think that they have a little bit more confidence offensively as well. So the second pick is the St. Louis Blues minus $1.09 over the Boston Bruins, and it's kind of a mirror image of what I think about the Sharks game. I don't know where Boston is on a nightly basis defensively. I know they like the combination of Zdeno Chara and Brandon Carlo in the lineup, but I just don't like putting a 20-year-old with Zdeno Chara. I think they're too inconsistent defensively, and they're a team that relies too much on Tuukka Rask on a nightly basis. In fact, the Bruins' opponents in the last 4 games have forced an average of 10 turnovers a game. So that tells me that the Bruins are extremely sloppy, and I just don't think that you have any room to be sloppy against the St. Louis Blues team that the other night against Dallas was as aggressive as I have seen them this season, forcing 12 turnovers against the Dallas Stars. So if you remember in the first meeting, Jake Allen had 39 saves. Boston, that looks impressive, but Boston was to the perimeter much of the night, and I think St. Louis will do much of the same tonight. So we'll take the Blues minus $1.09 over the Boston Bruins.
All right, that was pretty convincing. Not as convincing as a San Jose pick, but somewhat convincing. What do you think?
I think he's spot on, and he's got a good analysis on how the games are playing out. And speaking of sloppy, I think that's why Mike's not in today, right? He's been sloppy drunk. No, just kidding.
No, I think he just I don't know. I don't question him. He's like a Jim Morrison type character.
I had to jab him. I had to jab him when he's not here.
Let him do what he wants to do, and just admire it and be near it and have fun. All right,
I'm going to stick with my 2 picks. I was
really?
kind of leaning on the other one.
Why don't you just tell you want to just keep the other one to yourself? Or
I had a little 2-team parlay. I was going to go Chicago and Anaheim on a 2-team parlay, but I'm going to wait to see who the starting goalies are.
Okay. All right. So we got 2 picks. We got Philly plus 103. I'll be honest, that makes me a little bit nervous. I'm not sure how I feel about that one, just based on how you guys talked about it. Love in San Jose. Both Dana Lane and Scott Carter are on that one, and then Dana Lane also on St. Louis, which feels decent to me. But my play of the day, personally, based on what I've heard in the last 8 minutes, San Jose minus 106, baby.
The Sharks.
And maybe on the puck line, or just keep it.
I don't know if you're going to get a puck line.
Don't get too cute.
You might
Don't
get a
try to
puck
get
line
too
on that.
cute. Yeah.
You might get one.
All right. Dana Lane and Scott Carter, thanks so much, and good luck tonight.
Research before you bet. Be sure to check out SPR Picks for the best game predictions, breakdowns, and much, much more.